Okay, so we see here in Nazca, Peru, very famous Nazca lines. Orion associated with the spider. Not only just can we see it as a spider, we can easily see it as an octopus. Okay, and this would be the head. Any coincidence? Any coincidence at all when we consider that what we already saw in Isaiah about the spider's web being woven, the cockatrice eggs, cockatrice is serpent, and of course the cockatrice eggs being hatched, which is going to be, the locust, the arrival of the locust. And the work that they're further to do is to bring about the arrival of the fallen prince into material form, into the shadow, into the 666, this valley of the shadow of death. They're going to bring his personality into material form. And that's what this great work is all about. He has influenced them to do this work. Of course, he's been kicked out of heaven. He's been kicked out of the spiritual abode. The only hope in his mind that he thinks that he has is to take over the material realm. There's just one problem. Mankind has dominion over it. But at the same time, mankind's been given free will, which means he can give up that dominion if he wants. Well, enter the serpent. Enter the deception. Enter the trickery. They're tricking mankind into giving up his dominion by his own free will of choice. By this deception of trapping you in this letter, this shadow form of truth, keeping you crystallized in this doctrine, so that you can't see the bigger picture. And all the symbolism is there. Right on down to Job chapter 38. And Job chapter 38 is going to give us the connection that these beings have to this ice, out of whose womb came the ice, the hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? Of course, all this is in relationship to the abyss in which these beings come. The waters are hid as with a stone. Who is Ephraim? Ephraim is described as the stone of Israel. Okay. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades? Or loose the bands of Orion? Loose the bands of Orion. Well, we know bands is not only bands meaning in binding, in which we saw as it's referred to as the Iron Cross or the bands of Orion. Bands also translates per Strong's concordance to troop, to battalion, to army. Who's going to loose the battalion of Orion? And we know that those are the Danites, who are prophesied to come in the last days and be the judges, the Danites, the 13th judge of Israel at the 13th Baktun. They now become these spiders' eggs, these cockatrices that are to be hatched, that bring about the eventual arrival of this viper. And that's where it's going to begin to get interesting with the symbolism. We're going to find out that the symbolism here, as we see, is consistent with the octopus, as we see it's consistent with the spider, as we can see it's consistent with everything else down to the 33rd degree of Freemasonry. Well, now we're going to show it's consistent with the arrival of this viper, and it's going to be consistent with these four dimensions, okay, which are really four dimensions of material, four dimensions of spiritual, split right down the center. And none of this is by accident, guys. It's all right here. All right here. The Olympic mascot, the Zion 2012 London Olympics, with all of its symbolism. The mascot was a giant spider. A giant spider. And now you see why. And now you see why that octopus was chosen and what all this is really all about. So, check this out. Let's look at this symbol here again and see what else it's going to reveal. We're talking about this connection now. Let's just look at it in symbolic form. All the symbols were there at the London Olympics. So, the London Olympics, the theme, as we saw, the hidden theme was Zion. Well, here we have. The Zion is going to show itself. There's the Z, and then there's the N. Z and N. There's Zion. I'll be back.